because I was so uncomfortable to talk about money. And I remember I had one client who, as she said, "Oh, what's your rates?" And I was like, £30 an hour. And she was like, "I'll give you 20." And I was like, okay then, all right, 20.
How do you go from being afraid to ask for money to having a, multi-six-figure business?
Hi guys, my name's Ciara Madden, also known as Ciara London. I am the owner of Body by Ciara, Body by Ciara Gym and Body by Ciara Squat. I am a personal trainer and fitness instructor.
Ciara, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
I would love to go back in time and just hear from you a little bit more about growing up and what your career aspirations were.
I'm the sort of person who really wings it. I actually initially, I did my A-levels, I did my GCSEs, and I went into events and PR. That was kind of my initial background. And over time, I just felt like this isn't getting me anywhere. I say I never thought I was going to be a business owner, but I always had difficulty working underneath people. Mm-hmm. So although I didn't see myself as a business owner, I had all of the characteristics of a business owner because I didn't like being told what to do.
I love it.
I didn't like being told you have to be in the office at this time. I didn't like being told you can't go on holiday. I didn't like being told to do menial tasks that I didn't want to do. I always had a bit of an attitude, like not, I wouldn't say I always got along with everyone that I worked for, but it was like, be careful when you're kind of like poking the bear when it came to me. And I think a lot of my managers over the years would say I probably wasn't the easiest because they might ask me to do something and they wouldn't know if their head might get bitten off. So essentially I kind of just naturally fell into being a business owner by being fed up of people bossing me around. And initially it was like, I'm going to be self-employed. And then it kind of went on to creating a company, a limited company, and then becoming the CEO. So yeah, it's been a cool journey.
Did you consciously take the decision to train as a personal trainer, or were you like building a social media presence first?
Yeah, no, I definitely was not building a social media presence. And it's actually interesting because I was discussing this with someone yesterday, and I was just saying, I find it quite sad, the amount of DMs I get these days saying, I want to be an influencer. How do I be an influencer? I really want to get, this many followers, and what should I do? And I do think that there's this pressure that I didn't really feel. I just accidentally started to grow, and I do not have the biggest following at all. And I'm happy with my following. I said this to my friend the other day, if my following doubled or shrunk, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference. For me, I would, as long as I'm respected in my industry, I'd rather be a businesswoman than someone who's famous on Instagram.
At the time, what were you learning about your niche and where you really wanted to focus your training? Like, were you starting to make decisions about the type of trainer you wanted to be, the type of clients you wanted to work for? From a business perspective, were you thinking about how to build a personal brand as a trainer and kind of be somebody respected in the industry?
So yes, initially I sort of always gravitated towards women. When I first got involved in training, I was training for my mind, but also to change my body. And so I always wanted like a nice bum and, I wanted abs, and I kind of had this aesthetic in my head of what I wanted to look like. And I'm naturally very slim. That's kind of my build. And I've always been, I wouldn't say insecure about that, but I like when I have a bit of weight on me. And it's quite hard because I've got a super fast metabolism. I can literally just look at food and it burns off. And I know people always say like, oh, you're so lucky. You're so lucky. Oh, what a problem. You know, people do kind of take the mick on that. But actually, whatever somebody's preference is, or, you know, however your metabolism works, whatever your goals are, they are important to each individual. And so for me, I enjoyed the way that I looked when I was underweight. And as I trained more and more, I realized that actually I can achieve the body that I want naturally, just through, you know, going to the gym. And at the same time, I'm achieving a certain level of mental peace. And on top of that, I'm improving my fitness levels, and I'm improving my overall health and wellness. My skin was getting better. I just felt better within myself. So I wanted to share that with other women, because when I first used to train back in 2015, I would go to bodybuilding gyms and I would go into the weight sections. I've been a confident woman, but there would be very, very few women in those gyms or in the weight section of you know, a generic gym, high street kind of gym. And it would just be me and the guys. So my whole thing initially was like, you know, building a bum. And that was something that I naturally fell into. So I kind of picked up that branding quite early on. And actually, initially, people kind of laughed at me. You know, it wasn't like, ha ha, Ciara the personal trainer, but I would get sly remarks and I'd get comments like, you're not really training, you just want to squat in front of the boys, you just want to show your bum, you just want to wear tight leggings, or, you know, like just those sort of underhand remarks. And I was like, no, I don't. But, you know, I do enjoy the results, and actually I enjoy the process too. So I think initially I just felt like it's natural for me to train women. And so I have trained, you know, I've trained men too, but women do naturally sort of gravitate towards me, and it's just the way that it's been. And so I think that's how my branding came about. It was more about sculpting and shaping and, you know, using weight training, but bringing a softer approach to it.
Tell me one thing that you wish you'd known when you first started your business journey.
I wish that I had more knowledge about business. And I think that schools need to teach people about business and taxes and VAT and just the basics. Because if you know these things, that you'll be able to apply them to anything that you do in life.
Yeah, for sure. What would you say is one thing you wish you'd done sooner in your business?
Went online. Online is the way to go. You know, it's growing, and it's growing at a massive rate. So if you're not online, then again, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, totally. I'm always reminding my clients there are almost 5 billion people online right now, and there are 8 billion people in the world. I mean, it's massive opportunity. Yeah. Tell me why you do what you do.
Because I enjoy it.
Super simple. What's the best part about your job?
I think it's the knock-on effect that it has with other people. Sometimes someone will tag me in it. You know, I get tagged actually every day in like messages and pictures and stuff of individuals who are training with me, and they've transformed their bodies or their minds. And I think that's so cool, because sometimes I forget the impact it actually has on the people who are involved. And then, you know, they say to me, you know, I'm doing this now and I'm doing that now and I'm so happy and blah, blah, blah. And I just think that's amazing. If you could do something and get paid for it and make a difference to people, then isn't that even better?
100%. I think that's what we all want. What would you say is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Be kind. You never know when you're going to fall flat on your ass. And I think this year has shown that. So, you know, I think be kind, be humble, and treat everyone as you would like to be treated. And I know that sounds so corny, but I think if you are a good person, then good will come to you. If you're a bad person, you'll get your karma.
I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I say that all the time too. Good things happen to good people.
They do.
Tell me about how you built those initial revenue streams in your business. Like the obvious one is that you were training one-to-one clients, but tell me about, you know, really starting to kind of put a business hat on, maybe you were looking at other players in the market, being inspired. Were you interested in the mechanics of building a business that could grow more than just through the one-to-one model?
Yeah, I mean, everything that I've done, I'm actually really, it's strange because I'm so focused on business now. And even yesterday, I went for a walk to a road that I want to live on with, multi-million-pound houses, just to see it, just to visualize. Yeah, I do that like quite often. And yesterday, I literally took pictures of these houses and I was like, I want this one. And I'm going to have that house. And then I started researching, how much it costs. And it's funny because I'm very goal oriented, but I'm actually not very money motivated. So I am very open to ideas and I'm always looking for the next thing, but it's not necessarily with money in mind. So initially it was personal training. As I said, I was so scared. I didn't even want to ask for payment at the end. I had so many clients leave without paying me, and I'd just be like, bye, see you next week, because I was so uncomfortable to talk about money. And I remember I had one client who, she said, oh, what's your rates? And I was like, £30 an hour. And she was like, I'll give you 20. And I was like, okay then, all right, 20.
How do you go from being afraid to ask for money to having a, multi-six-figure business, to having thousands of clients? What shifted for you?
Experience. And I think that women are frequently victims of imposter syndrome. And not just women, men too, but I have noticed it way more frequently. Women are less comfortable talking about money. We often, sell ourselves short, whereas I find that men oversell themselves. Whereas now with time and experience, I know my worth now. I'm not doing that. I don't have the time to do that. And you probably can't pay me what it would cost for me to do that. Whereas back then, I felt like I was like, okay, I'll just take what I'm given. Thanks. And I think that's a feeling of not believing in yourself, not believing that you are worth that exchange of money. Now I'm like, if someone asks me about my online squad, for example, which is £15, I say to everyone, why haven't you signed up? It is the best value for money you will ever get. Like, I don't understand when I actually speak to someone and I'm like, you haven't signed up, but why? Because I so believe in what I'm selling, in that sense. I know that it's good value for money. I know that if someone trains with me now, I believe in the results I can get. I know that my products are good. And if you have a problem with anything, I know that my customer service will make sure that you're looked after. So now I'm like, I believe in myself. I believe in my products and I believe in the service that I give to people. So it is worth every penny. So I think that's the shift. It's all about self-belief. And that's really important because I think that self-belief is the difference between whether you'll be successful or not.
So at some point in your business, you went from you doing it all yourself. And, when you are building a business like this, you wear so many hats. You're, maybe marketing yourself, you're kind of managing the finances, you're the head of operations, your client services. And then, of course, you're also delivering the service, right? You're doing the thing that you're good at. Can you talk a little bit about how you've managed kind of building your team and becoming, you said right at the beginning, a CEO, like a real business owner, and how that process has looked for you?
I'm so lucky because I have good people around me. And I think that's also part of me being 31 now, is that I feel like I've really got to a place in my life now where if people around me don't inspire me, if I don't trust them, if I can't rely on them, if I can bring them into my business and, find a job for them and know that they're not going to value me and our relationship and stuff like that, you're not my kind of person. So, my sister works for me. My 3 of my cousins are trainers on my app. I have 17 trainers now, but 3 of them. And initially, the first one who started was my cousin Sinead, who also taught classes for me back in the gym and another friend, Sophie, who also taught classes for me back in the gym. So initially I said to Sinead, how do you feel about joining me? Because it's just me now and I really want to like add more classes. I want someone to do early mornings for people. I don't really want to do early mornings. You're a morning girl. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, I can pay you. And, you know, all these people, they had their income ripped away from them. Not everyone, but, you know, majority. So it was like, this is a way of giving my friends who are suddenly being made redundant or being left without income something to do, and they can help me and I have the funds to be able to employ them.
Ciara, thank you so much for joining me. It has been truly epic. Congratulations on everything you've achieved.
Thanks,
it's inspiring.
Thank you, and good luck with everything with you.
Thank you.